quite an interesting piece from LinkedIn. It was submitted by Contractors for Contractors, and the title is Contractor Trust, Win More Deals Through Reliability. So our mission here is really to pull out the key ideas from this source. It asks a pretty crucial question, I think, one that probably hits home for anyone in sales, or really any service industry. How do you actually close more deals, after you've got the lead? Especially if maybe you're not the cheapest quote they get. And this article suggests the real game changer isn't about the price tag. It's about, and I'm quoting here, unshakable trust and proven reliability. Okay, so let's unpack that a bit.
Yeah, it's fascinating because right off the bat, it challenges that really common idea that price is everything, isn't it? The argument here is that homeowners, maybe they've lived through those nightmare scenario.
Horror stories, yeah.
Exactly. The no-shows, the crazy delays, the contractor who just vanishes. They're actually looking for something much more valuable than just saving a few bucks. They want trust. They need it. So your best closing tool, according to this, isn't slashing your price. It's consistently proving you're the one who shows up, communicates clearly, and actually does what you say you'll do.
Okay, it sounds, maybe a bit counterintuitive to say price isn't king. How does the source really back this claim up? What about that concept they mentioned, the hidden cost of almost? That sounds powerful.
It really is. They actually talk about building a calculator to put a number on this hidden cost of almost. And they use their own data, like tons of it, from over 1,500 contractors worked with. And when you look at the bigger picture, their findings are, pretty stark. They reckon most contractors are losing somewhere between $5,000 and $10,000 a month.
Wow, $5,000 to $10,000 a month. Just from what exactly?
Not from bad work, not from high prices necessarily. It's purely from the fallout of things like punctuality issues is what they call it, and just a general lack of professionalism right at the start.
That's a huge hit to the bottom line, just for being maybe a little late or disorganized. Yeah. And didn't they have a specific stat about lateness? Something quite dramatic.
They did, yeah. Their data showed quite clearly that being just 15 minutes late for that initial appointment.
So it was 15 minutes.
15 minutes late without calling ahead or giving a heads up. It caused the close rate on that specific lead to plummet by nearly 30%.
30%, immediately, from such a seemingly small thing. What does that really tell us about, the psychology of that first impression, especially in this line of work?
Well, it tells us homeowners, they're inviting someone into their home, their personal space. They're looking for signals right from the get-go. Signals of respect, signals of control, of competence. Being 15 minutes late, especially if you haven't warned them, it's not just about the time lost. It instantly damages that trust. It basically says, I don't respect your time, or I'm maybe not that organized, and ultimately, can you rely on me? It's like setting fire to the relationship before it even begins. That perception of professionalism, of reliability, it gets set or broken right there in those first few moments.
Okay, so if that's the problem, that erosion of trust from seemingly small things, how did Contractors for Contractors say they, cracked this? What's the solution, the blueprint they laid out?
Right. Well, following on from that point, they really stress having a kind of blueprint. It's centered on winning that trust from the second you arrive, and then crucially keeping it going through clear communication and, follow through. It's less about some secret trick and more about doing certain high-impact things consistently.
And the heart of that blueprint seems to be what they call their trust trigger checklist. It sounds almost, surprisingly simple, but the way they describe it, it's really effective. It boils down to nailing that first impression and really every impression after that. Things like be on time, look professional, actually engage with the homeowner, don't just measure up.
Yeah, listen to them.
And confirm the plan clearly.
Exactly. And what's really striking is that these aren't, revolutionary strategies from outer space. They're fundamental, basic professionalism, but when done right, they build instant credibility. The article gives specific examples too. Being on time is obviously huge, but also things like arriving with a neat, maybe branded folder for papers, or even sending a quick agenda before the meeting.
Small things that signal preparedness.
Precisely. These small, consistent actions, just being punctual, presenting yourself all these shout, reliable and detail-oriented, before you even talk price or timelines. It shows you value their time, their investment, just as much as they do. It hits those trust triggers right away.
So wrapping this up then, what does this all really mean for you listening? Whether you're actually in contracting or, frankly, any field where making a good impression and being seen as reliable matters. This deep dive, it really hammers home that consistent reliability isn't just, a nice to have. it's actually a powerful financial asset. You can almost quantify it.
Absolutely. And it makes you wonder, doesn't it, if being just 15 minutes late can slash a close rate by 30% in contracting?
Yeah.
What are the hidden costs of similar slip-ups, maybe in punctuality or professionalism or just clear communication in other areas in our lives or maybe your business where the impact might be less obvious but just as real?
Yeah, that's a really good point. So maybe the provocative thought to leave you with is this. How could applying these simple trust triggers, being on time, looking the part, genuinely engaging, confirming the plan, how could focusing on those transform your first impressions? And maybe help you build stronger, more lasting connections in pretty much any situation where you're trying to build rapport and, well, achieve a goal. Something to think about.